One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
These famous words marked the culmination of a decades-long rivalry between the US and the USSR to conquer the final frontier, space. But how did this epic race begin? What were the challenges and triumphs along the way? And what did we learn about ourselves and our place in the universe from this cosmic adventure? In this video, I will take you on a journey through the history and achievements of the space race. But first, let me tell you a story. The year was 1961. A young boy named Neil Armstrong was sitting in front of his black and white TV, watching in awe as Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit Earth. Neil had always been fascinated by airplanes and rockets, and he dreamed of flying to the stars one day. He wondered what it would be like to see the Earth from space, to feel the weightlessness of zero gravity, and to explore the unknown. But Neil was not the only one with such dreams. Glued to his TV, another boy named Buzz Aldrin was also watching the historic flight of Gagarin. Buzz had been interested in astronomy and space since he was a child, and he had a knack for mathematics and engineering. He admired Gagarin's courage and skill, but he also felt a surge of competitiveness. He wanted to be the first American to go to space, and maybe even the first person to land on the moon. Little did they know that their dreams would soon become a reality, as they would become part of one of the most ambitious and daring projects in human history, the Apollo program. The Apollo program was a series of missions that aimed to send humans to the moon and return them safely to Earth. It was also a response to the challenge posed by the Soviet Union, which had been leading the space race since 1957 when it launched the first artificial satellite, Sputnik. The stakes were high, and so were the risks. The space race pushed both sides to innovate and experiment at an unprecedented pace, often at the expense of safety and ethics. Many lives were lost, both human and animal, in the quest for glory and dominance. Many secrets were kept, both from the public and from each other, in the name of national security and propaganda. Many sacrifices were made, both personal and professional, in the pursuit of a noble and audacious goal. But despite all the challenges and controversies, the space race also brought many benefits and achievements. It advanced science and technology in fields such as rocketry, communication, navigation, medicine, and computing. It inspired generations of people to pursue careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and to explore their curiosity and creativity. It fostered international cooperation and understanding among nations that shared a common interest in space exploration, and it expanded our knowledge and appreciation of our planet and our place in the universe. The space race officially began on July 30th, 1955, when the United States announced its intention to launch an artificial satellite for the International Geophysical Year, a scientific project that had more than 70 countries and lasted from July 1957 to December 1958. The US wanted to use this opportunity to showcase its scientific leadership and peaceful use of space. 4 days later, the Soviet Union responded, declaring it would also launch a satellite in the near future. The Soviets wanted to use this opportunity to challenge US dominance and prove their technological capability. The first to achieve this feat was the Soviet Union when they launched Sputnik 1 on October 4th, 1957. Sputnik 1 was a metal sphere about 23 inches in diameter that orbited the Earth every 96 minutes and transmitted radio signals. The launch of Sputnik 1 was a stunning achievement that shocked and alarmed the American public, who feared that the Soviets had gained significant advantages in missile technology and it could possibly launch nuclear weapons from space. This event triggered what would be known as the Sputnik crisis and spurred the US government to increase its spending and efforts on space research and education. The US also created a new civilian agency, NASA, to coordinate its space program. The US tried to catch up with the Soviets by launching its own satellite, Explorer 1, on January 31st, 1958. Explorer 1 carried scientific instruments that discovered the Van Allen radiation belts around the Earth. These belts are regions of charged particles trapped by the Earth's magnetic field that can affect satellites and astronauts. However, the Soviets were not done with their surprises. On April 12, 1961, they sent the first human into space, Yuri Gagarin, who completed one orbit around the Earth in his Vostok 1 spacecraft. Gagarin became an instant hero and symbol of the Soviet achievement. He was also awarded many honours and medals from various countries and organisations. The US responded by launching Alan Shepard on May 5, 1961, who became the first American in space, but only flew a suborbital flight that lasted about 15 minutes. Shepard reached an altitude of about 116 miles and experienced about 5 minutes of weightlessness. The stakes were raised even higher when President John F. Kennedy announced on May 25, 1961, that he was setting a goal for the US to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth before the end of the decade. This ambitious challenge galvanised the American public and motivated NASA to develop new rockets, spacecraft, and technologies for lunar exploration. Kennedy also appealed to Congress and the American people to support this endeavour as a matter of national pride and security. The space race continued through the 1960s, with both sides achieving many firsts in spaceflight. The Soviets were ahead in some aspects, such as launching the first woman into space, Valentina Tereshkova, in 1963, performing the first spacewalk, Alexei Leonov, in 1965, and landing the first probe on the Moon, Luna 9, in 1966. The Americans are ahead in others, such as launching the first communication satellite, Telstar, in 1962, performing the first docking in orbit, Gemini 8, in 1966, and sending the first humans around the Moon, Apollo 8, in 1968. The climax of the space race came on July 20th, 1969, when Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to walk on the Moon. Armstrong's famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," marked a historic moment for humanity and a decisive victory for the US in fulfilling Kennedy's goal. The Apollo program continued until December 1972, with 6 more missions landing on different regions of the Moon. The space race gradually cooled down after Apollo 11, as both sides realised it was too costly and risky to continue competing at such a high level. The two rivals also began to cooperate more in space projects, such as the Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975, which was the first joint mission between the American and the Soviet crews. The mission involved the docking of an Apollo spacecraft and a Soyuz spacecraft in orbit, and the exchange of greetings and gifts between the astronauts and cosmonauts. The mission was also a symbolic gesture of détente and friendship between the two nations. The end of the Cold War in 1991 also eased tensions and opened new opportunities for collaboration in the space exploration. The US and Russia became partners in the International Space Station, the ISS, a modular orbital laboratory that had been continuously inhabited by humans since 2000. The ISS also involves contributions from other countries such as Canada, Japan, and the European Space Agency. The ISS serves as a platform of scientific research, technological development, and international cooperation in space. The legacy of the space race is still evident today, as it has inspired generations of scientists, engineers, astronauts, and enthusiasts to pursue their dreams and curiosity about outer space. It has also advanced our knowledge and understanding of our planet and our place in the universe. The achievements of both sides during this period are remarkable and deserve our respect and admiration. Thank you very much for watching this video on the history of the space race. If you've enjoyed it, I think you'd love this video on the history of skydiving to learn why you should live life an inch from death. I'll see you there. Goodbye.